Has the Kentucky fan base accepted mediocrity? I think I said that right. I'm Chris Adams, and before I get started on my video, guys, can you please hit the like button, follow me on TikTok, and subscribe to me over on YouTube. Okay, not going to be a lengthy video. Have we accepted, I got to get this word right, mediocrity? Have we accepted that as a fan base? I've not. All right, I've not. I know a lot of guys I've played ball with and growing up around my age, and a lot of people around my age, we haven't accepted it. But I'm saying the Kentucky fan base as a whole, and guys, this is not an argumented video. I'm not trying to poke any Mark Pope fans. I promise I'm not. Mark Pope did a great job the other day against Vandy. But here's what I'm saying, okay? And I'm asking you to please just think about it. I'm trying to level with you, not... Here's a little insight I want to tell you all. My TikTok crowd is light years ahead of my YouTube crowd on intelligence. And I'll just be honest with you. And I know my people on YouTube, you got to, not all, I'm not talking about everybody. There's some jerks on TikTok too, okay? But for the most part, 95% of my followers on TikTok, very educated, smart people. And I'm not just saying that. We have a mixture. We have people who like Pope, but you can talk to them as a person intelligently. We have people who feel the way I do about Calipari, but we all make it work and we get along because we can discuss it like adults. There are people on YouTube that are very intelligent like that also. And you people on YouTube that are intelligent, make your way over to TikTok and follow me. We do live about every night for about an hour, at least an hour. And we'll talk about it like I do. We do pre-game and post-game to like 7 o'clock games. I can do that. Like tomorrow, I'll be on before and after the game and a lot during. So make your way over. My YouTube, there's a lot of jerks on YouTube. Now, I'm not going to, they argue just to argue. Now, one of the things I get praised for is because I'm always fair, I'm unbiased and all that stuff. You all know, a 3-game losing streak and us losing at Rupp, yeah, I'm going to hammer Mark Pope. I'm going to hammer it. Just like any other coach that's ever been in that position. That's not okay to me. When he wins, I'll give him credit. When he loses, I'm going to hold him accountable. It's simple. It's simple. It's not my kid playing or something like that where I'm just going to back him regardless. I have a responsibility to people, and here's who I put first. I put the University of Kentucky ahead of anything. So don't ask me if I'm a Mark Pope guy, if I'm a Calipari guy, a Pitino guy. I love Pitino, Calipari, and Tubby because they have provided the 3 national championships I've witnessed in my lifetime. They're sacred to me, and I will always protect those 3. Mark Pope gets me a national championship, I'll show you, okay? But here's the thing, and this is not argumentative, okay? So let me go just through a timeline of, I started watching Kentucky basketball about 90, okay? I was born in 81. I started watching it where I could really, now I was ahead of pace, honestly. I wasn't allowed to play with Ninja Turtles and all that stuff. I mean, I was allowed, but it's not like today where you do what your kid wants to do. It was a complete opposite when I was growing up. You watched what the old man was watching, and that was the end of it. My dad and my grandfather loved Kentucky basketball more than anything in the world. More than anything in the world. And that's what I was raised up to. And I'm both of them right now. If my papa were alive, World War II veteran, he would think he's on a different planet. He would say Kentucky basketball 19-10 and unranked. Been beaten by 35, 29, 25, all this stuff. I'm serious. I don't mean this to piss anybody off. My grandfather would seriously think he's on another planet, and he would ask why the current coach still has his office if we're 19-10. And I'm not lobbying for Pope to get fired. This is just a video. All it is I'm asking people's opinion. Have we accepted mediocrity? Is that okay now? And I think it is. It's not for me or anything like that. Let's go through the timeline. So Rick Pitino, he took us over. Pitino's a little different. He took over probation. We were looking at that time, it's not like today. Today, there's no such thing as rebuilding. That's why, yes, it's concerning that Mark Pope is not getting any recruits, but also we have the most money. He could go handpick his players, and we can have a powerhouse roster built all over again next year. So I'm not concerned with that. Not that concerned with it. He just can't recruit. Pope's not a good recruiter, but it's not as critical today, honestly. I have no doubt in my mind we're going to come back with a top 5 roster in the nation, talent-wise. We'll come right back with one. We'll go, because Mark Pope will go handpick and get whoever he wants, okay? And he's the only coach in the history of college basketball that's ever been able to say that. He will get who he chooses to play with that much money. But here's the deal. All right, so Pitino took over. Probation, 14-14, improved immediately. National championship his second year. Or not national, what am I thinking? I went brain fart, I'm sorry. Pitino, second year of SEC regular season championship. Sorry. So 14-14 to a SEC regular season championship. His third year was the Lakener shot. That was in the Elite Eight, and he had us in the Final Four by his fourth year. So really, in his second year of eligibility, he took us to the Final Four. So I'm going to say Pitino in year 2 took us to the Final Four, won an SEC regular season championship his second year. There were people complaining. I'll tell you when they started complaining. After Rick's 93 Final Four year, we were beaten by Marquette in the second round in 94. We were beaten, upset by a 6-seed Marquette team. That Kentucky team was a 3-seed. We went 27-7. It's the same year. It's the LSU 31-point comeback team. And people were complaining it was the end of the world. 27-7, that team won the SEC tournament championship. And because they were beaten in the second round, there were people crucifying Rick Pitino. A lot of this younger generation don't understand that, and I think a lot of people my age maybe don't remember that. I don't know. But this fan base was on Pitino's ass, and then the next year we were the number 1 seed in an NCAA tournament, and North Carolina beat us in the Elite Eight and embarrassed us, dunking on us at the end. 95 game, Rasheed Wallace, Stackhouse. The way they closed that game, North Carolina, 13-point loss, but they embarrassed us at the end, dunking on us. I mean, go watch the ending. Go watch the last 2 minutes of 95 North Carolina, Kentucky. I mean, you talk about rubbing it in. That's how you do it. But anyway, so they were on Pitino, and then he finally won his national championship in 96, okay? I think in 97, everybody finally figured out what we have is something special. Okay? I mean, a lot of us were had Pitino's back and everything, but it was the same thing of today. People were back and forth, and I heard people around my age will understand this. They remember this. Pitino's just a system coach. He can't coach in big games. All you have to do is beat his system, and you got him, which some of that may be true. I don't know. Pitino's never had a second pitch. If you can beat his fastball, but it's a pretty damn good fastball. But anyway, the point being, they were on Pitino's ass. Seriously. I mean, it was bad. So Tubby takes over, following Rick, and the entire season, I remember we lost a game at Rupp and a game where Cameron Mills scored 31 points against Florida. We lost the game at Rupp in 98. I'll never forget that because it was the end of the world because you didn't lose at Rupp Arena. You better not lose at Rupp. That's what I tell any of these guys. If Pope leaves today, I'll tell the next guy, you better win at Rupp. I don't care who you're playing. No matter what else you do here, if you lose games at Rupp, it's time to go. It's time to go. But anyway, so Tubby wins the national championship in 98. The very next season, things started going downhill a little bit. He was crucified. Then the next season after that, crucified. And Tubby had to put up with it for a decade. He did. I mean, for a decade. 2003, we won 27 consecutive games and got beat in the Elite Eight, and he was criticized for that. 27 in a row, undefeated in the SEC, and he was criticized for that, Tubby Smith was. So anyway, not happy when Tubby was there. He wasn't happy over anything. John Calipari, season 1. Well, he didn't win it with the Wall and Cousins team. We shot like shit against West Virginia. We got put out of the tournament. The second year, 4th seed, Calipari takes them to the Final Four. We get beat by UConn by 1 point. People were already complaining. 2012, we win the national championship. A lot of people said anybody can win with that team. That wasn't in the top 3 or 4 best talented teams Calipari had. 2012 was one of John Calipari's best coaching jobs. Anthony Davis was probably the best defensive player in the country. He was not a good offensive player. Anthony Davis at that point in time was not a good offensive player. Couldn't shoot. I mean, he developed that when he got to the NBA. Lamb, never heard from again. Teague, the worst of the Teague brothers. His brother played point guard for Atlanta. Terrence Jones had a cup of coffee with Houston there. That talent-wise on that team, very overrated. Calipari did an outstanding coaching job, won a national championship in 2012. The very next year, injuries like you all say, but I'm not going to say that. It was Calipari's worst coaching job of his career, in my opinion. I don't count the COVID team. You all can if you want to. You can be my guest if you want to. You're not going to bother me, and you're not going to change my opinion. The COVID year in life in general, there's a lot that I don't count. I mean, it never happened, in my opinion. It's ridiculous. But anyway, and I would have said that if it would have been Mark Pope or anybody else that had a bad year because of that. But anyway. So Calipari, the crucifying starts the following year. And then the next season, Calipari's ejected in a game at South Carolina. And I forget our record at that time, but it's late January, early February. And I mean, the fan base lost their mind. I mean, screaming for his job, wants him fired. Remember, 2 years removed from a national championship in 2014. Well, after that, Calipari used the fan base's negative energy to, these guys will tell you on that team, Randall and all of them, they won in spite of the fan base. In spite of the fan base, he took them all the way to the national championship game in the second greatest run in the history of college basketball, right behind 1983 NC State. NC State's the greatest run in the history of college basketball. Number 2 is the 2014 Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, they 8 seed beat Wichita State, defending champion Louisville with Rick Pitino, beat Michigan, beat Wisconsin, and lost to UConn, of course, in the national championship game. But that's how that got responded. And Calipari, after the Wisconsin game, has an interview. I'm sure you all could YouTube it now. He said there's constructive criticism and there's also destructive criticism. He said we got destructive criticism from the fan base. So all of y'all who are telling me you need to stay loyal to Pope and all that, you wasn't loyal to Cal then. You wasn't loyal to Cal, and you wasn't loyal to that 2014 team. You was ready to crucify them. And people know who they are that's on my Facebook page. What was I doing? I defended them all the way. I never left, okay? Those people that were on Calipari, I didn't say to them, y'all are not part of this fan base anymore. People have a right to their opinion, okay? But anyway, 2015 team, 38 consecutive wins. It will never be done again in our lifetime. 38 consecutive wins will not be done again in our lifetime. And Calipari gets crucified because we got beat by number 1 seed Wisconsin. So the crucifying just continued after that. Nothing was good enough. Let's fast forward to today. Mark Pope went 24-12 last year. And I've heard many people say it was a great year. We stretched the overword great in sports. I think it was a mediocre at best year. We lost 8 games by double digits. We got beat by 29 in the SEC tournament. We were beaten by double digits in a Sweet 16 against Tennessee. Most of the people that are saying it was a great year, they have a couple of things in common. And I'm not calling you out. I'm just pointing out facts. They're either in this 35 and under generation, really 40. If you were 40, you were very, very young when Pitino won his national championship. There's a lot of people I would say that's about 40 right now that will probably act like, yeah, I watched every bit of that 96 team. You're about 10, 11 years old. I mean, I'm going to say he's still doing some playing in the dirt and stuff like that, but okay, I'm not judging somebody else. But anyway, definitely, if you're under 40, you didn't watch Pitino's. It's this younger crowd that has accepted mediocrity. That they grew up in the participation trophy era. And the other half, I think, just hates John Calipari that bad. I want you to ask yourself, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to admit it, you don't have to type it out, you can if you want to, but I'm challenging you to ask you this. The overall question, and I'm going to try to end the video, have we accepted mediocrity as a fan base? And it's a question. It's an honest question. I'm just trying to get you all to think about it. I'm not accusing. I know I have. I want to say this. This season, my bar is up here. Like the movie Moneyball, where he tells Billy Bean tells the Oakland A's owner. He said, I don't know where your bar is at because he said, mine's here. This is my bar. Championship. My bar is championship. He said, it's right here. That's my bar. It's right here. Okay, guys? I'm just trying to get y'all to understand. So my expectations of Kentucky basketball may be completely different than yours. So Mark Pope went 24-12 last year. And in the offseason, they built a $22 million roster. Most expensive in the history of college basketball. And I had so many people, guys that I played ball with, guys that have won regions and played at Rupp Arena, guys that have played college basketball. I had so many of them. Chris, we have to just give them a chance. This is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. And to my fault, I bought into it. I told people at my work, I told my wife, let's book our rooms for Indy. Because every time it's in Indianapolis, I go if we're there. If we're there, I go to Indy. I said, let's book our rooms. I said, this team's going to the Final Four. I told people at the gym everything. I truly believed it. I truly believed it. And now people might say injuries. It's played a little bit. Here's how I look at it. How do we play? You can have bad players and still coach them good. And for the most part this season, I think Mark Pope has did a bad coaching job. The other day was excellent. Saturday against Vanderbilt was Kentucky basketball. That was Kentucky basketball. His Pope's problem is getting that consistently. So does Mark Pope have it? I think Mark Pope has what we need. He just hasn't been able to do it consistently yet. And I'm not the person that's going to give him excuses. You got to get the job done, man. I mean, you have to win. You've got to win. There's no excuses at Kentucky. There's no excuses. You've got to win games. You've got to win games. And if he does that, I'll be fine with him. But that's the question, guys. Have we accepted mediocrity? I'm guessing if you say we don't, you're going to have a whole long list of excuses. Here's my thing. I challenge you to make a case for me using 10 words or less. If you have to use more than 10 words in your comment, you're probably making excuses. I'm just being honest with you. So have we accepted mediocrity? Is that okay now? We're looking at 24, 25 losses in his first 2 years. And I honestly believe that a lot of the fan base, that's just, they're fine with that. They're okay with it. I truly believe that. And you know what? Everybody has a right to their opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. If you're fine with that and you're willing to go forward, we're all University of Kentucky basketball fans, and your opinion is value just as much as mine. Everybody have a great day. God bless. Go Cats.